Title: The grim expectation of a recession looms over Australia's economy. The government and its officials have changed their view on the economy's future, and it's not looking good. According to Treasurer Jim Chalmers, the economy is expected to slow down considerably, and a new PTICK in unemployment is to be expected. Though it's not yet certain that Australia will face a recession, the bleak outlook has replaced the previous hope of avoiding one. Chalmers' comments also indicate that the official forecasts from the Reserve Bank and Treasury may expect an increase in unemployment and a moderation in inflation. As the country's finances face deep distress, it remains to be seen how the economy will fare in the coming months. Title: Varroa mite outbreak in Australia continues to threaten bees as eradication efforts persist. The ongoing fight to eradicate the bee-killing parasite, Varroa mite, in New South Wales, Australia, has reached a grim milestone 1 year after it was first detected in sentinel hives in the Port of Newcastle. Eradication efforts will continue for at least another 3 years. The parasite's financial impact continues to cost tens of millions of dollars, and new infestations of Varroa mite are still being discovered. The New South Wales Department of Primary Industries and beekeepers have sampled over 130,000 hives, euthanizing 25,000 across nearly 1 million hectares of red zones. Containing the parasite to current levels is still a monumental task, and non-compliance with established rules could derail the eradication goal. The Titan sub-mystery unfolded in unimaginable horror. For those on board, it was over in a moment. The submersible that went missing while attempting to reach the wreckage of the Titanic has been found, and the news is grim. It appears the sub imploded, and everyone on board died. The tragedy has led many to question why the sub, known as the Titan, was there in the first place. The company behind the experimental sub had reportedly been warned about safety concerns but still took passengers to the depths of the North Atlantic. As investigators try to understand what went wrong, the maritime sector is being urged to learn from another tragedy. Title: Controversial ethnicity-based tool to prioritize patients for surgery in Auckland. Auckland's public health system has implemented the Equity Adjuster Waitlist tool, which uses ethnicity to prioritize patients for non-urgent surgery. The tool considers the patient's sickness level, location, socio-economic status, and ethnicity, with Maori and Pasifika patients receiving slightly higher priority. The initiative aims to address racial discrimination in the healthcare system, but critics have described the tool as racist and discriminatory. The New Zealand Prime Minister has defended the tool but halted its rollout outside of Auckland. The Equity Adjuster Waitlist tool has sparked a heated debate about the role of ethnicity in determining surgical waitlists. Renewable energy push creates trade union division. Mining and energy workers are splitting from their current union, the Construction Forestry Maritime Mining and Energy Union (CFMMEU), due to concerns about the push towards renewable energy. Last month, a ballot showed 98% of mining and energy members voted in favour of forming their own union. The Queensland Mining and Energy Union president said that while they still have relationships with other parts of the CFMMEU, they are going different ways into the future. The new, standalone union will focus on more effective lobbying, particularly around energy-related matters. The Mining and Energy Division has 30 days to apply for a withdrawal date. Siblings charge over brother's alleged stabbing in Broken Hill. The siblings of a man who was allegedly stabbed in Broken Hill have been arrested and denied bail. Kyle Ross Henderson, 27, allegedly stabbed his brother Dwayne, while his sister, Alina Marie Henderson, offered to delete surveillance footage from the home. Dwayne Henderson lost his leg due to the attack and is in a serious condition at the hospital. Both siblings are charged with intending to pervert the course of justice and hindering an investigation, while Kyle Henderson is also charged with grievous bodily harm with intent. A third person, Megan Bock, has been charged with hindering an investigation, accessory after the fact and concealing an indictable offence. Title: Canberra's New Day program for young people struggling with mental health. Description: a New Day program for young people in the Australian Capital Territory who are struggling with their mental health has opened its doors. The program offers alternative therapies such as art, cooking, and movement to help young people feel more comfortable and engaged. The program was designed with the help of young people like Josie, who struggled with anxiety and depression from the age of 7. The voluntary program will operate out of the Centenary Hospital for Women and Children and will help young people in crisis while remaining in the community. Hashtags. Title: Man jailed for using public payphone across Australia to harass women. A man from Geraldton, Western Australia, has been jailed for 4 years and 6 months for stalking and harassing women using information collected from the internet and payphones. Christopher Andrew Anderson, 59, would make obscene phone calls to women and ask them inappropriate sexual questions. He would act politely at first and identify himself as Peter, a secret admirer, before making the calls. Anderson was also found to have child exploitation material and a watch with which he recorded someone undressing. The court concluded that his actions were premeditated, calculated, and persistent. Tens of thousands of missing homes could push Australia's property prices even higher. A chronic lack of housing supply and increased demand for housing is supporting property prices and could lead to a further lift in the market. The lack of supply is due to the federal government's Housing Australia Future Fund being stalled in the Senate, and tens of thousands of homes are missing. The sudden and surprise increase in migration is also adding to the housing shortage, with rents rising sharply, adding to inflation. Rising interest rates and soaring inflation can't sustain a rising property market. In the meantime, property prices in Australia will continue to rise. Title: Family of Todd McKenzie calls for police reforms after fatal shooting. Family members of Todd McKenzie, who was fatally shot by police during a schizophrenic episode in 2019, have called for reforms to support people during mental health crises. The inquest into his death ended on June 23, 2023. Mackenzie's stepfather, Neil Wilkins, expressed his hope that small changes in police procedures in relation to mental health training, third-party intervention, and intelligence gathering will take place to prevent similar tragedies from happening. Mackenzie's family was tormented by his death, and they want to see justice for his death, accountability, and changes in police culture. Broome woman sentenced to 5 years for manslaughter of partner. Tamara Lorimer has been found guilty of unlawfully killing her partner Doreen Lindsay by reversing a car over her while under the influence of alcohol. Lorimer, who received a 5-year jail sentence, was drinking with Ms. Lindsay at their home in Cable Beach in November 2021 when she received a call from a friend asking for help. Lorimer and 3 others climbed into Lorimer's ute and reversed from the driveway, hitting and running over Ms. Lindsay, who later died in Broome Hospital. Chief Justice Peter Quinlan said there were no winners in a case like this. Tributes for beautiful, loving Melbourne mother murdered by estranged husband. Family and friends of Elaine Pandalovsky delivered emotional victim impact statements to the court on Friday, describing their heartbreak over the loss of a loving mother and friend. Melbourne man Zoran Pandalovsky has been labelled evil by members of his estranged wife's family, after the Supreme Court heard he choked his high school sweetheart to death and took photos of her body. Pandalovsky was arrested later that day after being involved in a high-speed crash. The former sales manager initially pleaded not guilty to murder, but changed his plea on the day his trial was due to begin in April. Former police officer avoids jail after death of motorcyclist during pursuit. A former police officer, Matthew James Kelly, who was found guilty of negligent driving occasioning death after pursuing motorcyclist Jack Roberts on the New South Wales Central Coast in 2020, has been sentenced to a 12-month community corrections order. The pursuit occurred after Mr. Roberts was seen riding without lights on and in dark clothing at Blue Haven. Mr. Roberts fled and died after being run over by the police vehicle during the pursuit. The judge said Kelly's actions left a considerable impact on Mr. Roberts' family. Kelly has also been disqualified from driving for 12 months. Source. Title: Former South Australian police officer found guilty of indecent assault. Description: a former South Australian police officer found guilty of sexually assaulting 2 women is facing prison time despite his lawyer's call to spare him, saying it would not be a safe place for him. Martin Duku, 24, was working in his first job based in the Port Augusta police station when he indecently assaulted 2 women. Duku's lawyer argued that he requires protection in jail, given his mental health difficulties. The prosecutor, however, asked for an immediate term of imprisonment, given 2 of the 3 counts were serious examples of the offending. Duku will be sentenced next week. Hashtags. Russia sanctions 48 Australians in latest sweep punishing Russophobic groups. The Russian Foreign Ministry has imposed sanctions on 48 Australians, including businessmen, politicians, and journalists, for being part of a Russophobic campaign by the Collective West. Among those sanctioned were 12 members of South Australia's Australia Day Council. The list primarily targets high-ranking executives at Australian military contractors, with 9 from engineering firm SYPAQ Systems and 16 from Thales Australia, which has recently been awarded a $160 million contract to build new Bushmaster vehicles for the Australian Army. The move is in response to what the Russian government calls politically motivated sanctions against Russian individuals and legal entities introduced by the Australian government. WA coroner finds foul play in the death of Perth mother Yvetta Mitchell, who vanished in 2010. After 13 years of investigation, the deputy coroner in Western Australia has found that Yvetta Mitchell, a Perth mother who vanished from her Parmelia home in 2010, is dead and that another person or persons were involved in her death. While no evidence exists yet to point to who may be responsible, Mitchell's husband, Chad Mitchell, remains a person of interest. The coroner's findings have prompted new lines of inquiry, and the investigation remains open. Title: Bus carrying Victorian school children runs off-road in SA. A bus carrying 42 children and 5 staff members from a Victorian school ran off the road north of Adelaide and became bogged in a paddock. Fortunately, no one was injured in the incident. However, the driver, a 53-year-old man from Victoria, has been charged with driving without due care and driving a heavy vehicle while fatigued. The police were called, and the driver was arrested. He was later bailed to appear in the Kadina Magistrates Court on August 21. Parents and school officials are grateful that no one was hurt in the accident. Malaysia charges 4 Thais over mass graves found in 2015. 4 Thai nationals have been charged under Malaysia's anti-trafficking laws in connection with the 2015 discovery of mass graves believed to be of Rohingya Muslims and Bangladeshis held in camps in a hilly jungle area on the country's border with Thailand. After cooperating with Thai authorities, the 4 men were caught and extradited to Malaysia on Thursday to face charges. The discoveries exposed hidden networks of jungle camps run by human smugglers, who for years held people captive while extorting ransoms from their families. Their case will be transferred to the High Court for hearing. Critical shortage of midwives forces closure of Whyalla Hospital birthing services. The Whyalla Hospital in South Australia has suspended birthing services due to a critical midwifery workforce shortage, leaving pregnant women to deliver at other locations from June 26. Flinders and Upper North Local Health Network Chief Executive Craig Packard said staff were working with each woman who was due to give birth imminently to arrange an alternative location. The hospital is working on recruiting qualified staff with the aim of reinstating birthing services soon. The Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation SA has been pushing for increased incentives to attract more nurses and midwives to regional areas. Australia imposes travel bans and sanctions against 3 men over MH17. Australia has imposed travel bans and sanctions against 3 men involved in the downing of flight MH17, in a move likely to further inflame tensions with Russia. The sanctions target 2 of the convicted men, Sergei Dubinsky and Leonid Karchenko, as well as Sergei Muchkayev, a colonel with the Russian Armed Forces and the commander of the anti-aircraft missile brigade that supplied the missile. All three were convicted of murder last year after a court in the Netherlands found they helped procure the surface-to-air missile launcher that shot down the plane in 2014. The move is likely to draw fresh protests from Russia. Methane gas explosion kills 31 gold miners in South Africa. A mine explosion in South Africa has killed 31 people. The miners were believed to be illegal and came from the neighboring country of Lesotho. The incident occurred on May 18, and the news was only recently released by the Energy Department. Investigations revealed that methane levels were too high in the ventilation shaft, delaying the search for the missing miners. Methane is a dangerous greenhouse gas often found in underground mines. Illegal mining is common in South Africa and poses serious health and safety threats to mine workers. Fatal incidents involving illegal miners are common in the region. Title: Russian mercenary chief claims Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine was based on lies. Russian mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin has accused Russia's defense minister and top general of concocting lies about the reasons for Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. In a video clip released by his press office, Mr. Prigozhin rejected the official version of the invasion as a beautiful story aimed at deceiving the public and President Putin. He claims that the invasion was motivated by greed, with the ruling elite wanting to enrich themselves by dividing material assets in Ukraine. Mr. Prigozhin's assertions run counter to the Kremlin's narrative and could have serious consequences for him. Exploding fire extinguisher kills student and injures 5 during Bangkok fire drill. A high school fire drill in Bangkok turned deadly after a fire extinguisher exploded, killing 1 student and injuring 5 others. The carbon dioxide canister was being displayed in the sunlight when it exploded, sending metal scraps into the chest of the victim who later died. The high outdoor temperature could have caused the extinguisher to explode, according to the initial police investigation. 3 people may face charges of death by negligence. The school's education minister said it was the first fire drill at the school in 6 years and was coordinated with Bangkok's fire department.